to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective.
Yes, welcome.
And that voice in the background, that was Vern Glenn, who was our co-host for a long time, and he's such a busy guy that he's just a guest periodically.
And the great
kind of a Sports Econ 101 reunion.
Yeah, that's
there you
right.
go. Now, I was going to say the great thing about Vernon is he's always got energy to burn.
I love that about
Yeah.
it. Okay, so I'm your host, Edward Brown, and along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. And we're going to have vacations that we're going to give away at each commercial break.
Do I get one?
You
Does
sure
Vernon
do,
get one?
if you can answer the question. Because, let's see, this trivia questions this time are the Major League All-Star Game.
Oh.
Got to figure, it's right around coming up to the All-Star Game,
Sounds
right?
good.
Okay. And let's see, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. If you can come out to San Francisco, got to check them out. Vacations are free. They're only request a $75 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Check them out at lighthouseresortandmarina.com. And today's show is going to be fun because we're welcoming back Vern Glenn, who's always putting a smile on our face.
Are you there, Vern?
Well, you throw me in the closet, throw the mothballs on, and just drag me out.
And Vern, for those that don't know, Vern has been here in the Bay Area since, I believe, 1991 or 92.
That would be January 1990. But that's
Okay. Oh, geez, 1990. 25 years.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Okay. Well, this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding 8%.
And if I need private money, I'm going Pacific.
That's right. Can you imagine earning over 8% in today's market?
I'm there.
Okay. And by the way, I do have some of my IRA in there, and they're actually paying 8.15%.
Sweet.
Very good. Doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check
Not
that.
8.14,
8.15. That's
That
right.
sounds a little better. That sounds a little better to me.
Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Oh, this is going to be fun. All right, stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, and we will be right back.
Go Bulls!
Vern, you always
What
put a
you
smile
doing
on
today,
your face.
Vernon?
I am anchoring today. I'm at my desk.
Oh, sweet.
At the helm is Kevin Kennedy, one of our producers. Ryan Stites. So we're kind of the calm before the storm. We got the Giants game on a monitor. We got the U.S. Women's World Cup game on another monitor.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's
The women
right.
are playing
Today,
France
yeah.
or Germany today, aren't they?
today.
That's right. That is right.
How are they doing?
Scoreless as we speak.
Okay.
More on this later.
Okay. So you're doing how many shows tonight?
3, the 6th, the 10, and the 11th.
And how much time do they give you for each one?
I think we got 4.5 on the 6th. We got a buck 10 and a buck 45 at 11.
Okay, well, that's enough to get some stuff in there.
Subject to change.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you'll have no problem filling that time.
Hey, the other day I saw Rat the other day in the garage.
Rat is doing very well. As you know, he and Jack Swanson are former, Jack hired him over at KGO, and when Jack got the job as the new program director and news director at CBS, he felt that it would be a great fit. And, hate to do that to Hal, but at the same time, Hal's 69, had a great run, he got a great payoff, he's got a pension, he doesn't have his kids in the house. I mean, he wanted to work till he was going to die, but,
Right.
This works out well for everybody. And I talked to Hal, he was a little upset about it, but he's handling it pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's great for Rat, because Rat was really, really down in the dumps when he got canned, and I told him, I said, Kevin, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. So it did.
Well, I was going to try to have Rat in last Sunday on game day, but he felt a little funny about it because Hal's body was still warm. It had not.
Yeah, he and Hal talked. I mean, the thing about our little industry here is we're all so fraternal. So when people take other people's jobs, it's not like we're stabbing each other in the back. These things happen, unfortunately, where a manager makes a decision, and it's kind of like an athlete. The regular lineup, you take somebody out, you put the backup guy in, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But I hope it works out for Kevin.
Yeah.
He's lucky not to be at KGO anymore. I'm still there, and it's really sad what's going on over there.
I'm not there, but I'm sure Ed right now is like, can we start the show now?
Yeah, he is. He's looking at me.
That's okay.
He's looking at me kind of cross-eyed, going, "Let's get going here." Anyway,
All right.
talking shop with Vern Glenn here.
Yeah.
Off air, of course.
Okay. All right. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with Bruce McGowan, and our favorite guest, who is a co-host on Sports Econ 101.
It's an alumni moment.
That's it, Vern Glenn.
That's right.
You guys know that voice. So, hey, Vern, we were just talking off air about how you were traveling with the Warriors, but only for the games. Was it 4 and 5?
2 and 3,
Two and three,
or
sorry,
3 and 4.
Three and four.
It was
Back in
2,
Cleveland.
and then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah.
Okay, but and Bruce was mentioning that back in the older days that the sports guys used to travel all the time.
Yeah, but that was a different time with a different budget and just a different industry before technology kept reinventing itself. Now, it's hey, I'm young and I work cheap, and technology just reinventing itself where you can do more with so much less.
And I think a lot of it too has to do with, we don't like to get off on a tangent about this, but the Communications Act, I don't know if a lot of our listeners know this, in 1995, that allowed larger companies to buy more radio stations, more TV stations, more newspapers per market. Before that, they were only allowed to buy 1 or 2, then they could buy 6 or 7. And when they would do that, they would consolidate staffs and water down the product, and unfortunately we're seeing that as well. So, but you survived in this industry, Vernon, for a long time, 25 years in television in San Francisco. That's a pretty good track record.
Well, when the suits come in with the cutbacks, I just stay low, so I don't get caught, by the sickle.
Yeah, there you go. That's the key. And you work very hard.
Thing, in this industry, we used to travel an awful lot, and it's not so much anymore. But and I mentioned technology just for the listeners out there that just don't know. It's so much cheaper now to have someone in the market where the game is. You just ship them out a mic flag, with the Channel 5 on it, and just have them do it.
Sure.
Because I think the research shows that, unless it's like a big thing, Super Bowl or NBA championship, something like that, the audience really, they care, but they don't care. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So everybody kind of held off until the Warriors made the finals, which is not unprecedented, but it had been 40 years. Yeah. So it was just time to kind of break the bank a little bit. But over here on Channel 5, I can tell you, as being a CBS O&O, that's owned and operated for listeners who don't know. We have the Super Bowl, and they are holding all funds back where they normally would spend on, hey, get the chopper up. There's a car chase. They're just going to hold those funds and blow everything out when Super Bowl 50 gets here.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
The boys were in town the other day.
Wow.
James Brown, Jim Nance, you name them, they were here.
Yeah.
Doing promos.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Number 50 is a big deal, and that's the first one at the new ballpark, and probably the 49ers won't be involved, but, they will be involved. They just won't be involved on the field. That's a huge deal.
Well, it's still the single most watched single event, sports-wise, in the world.
Yeah,
really?
And also being played by stadiums.
One isolated event is the most watched in the world.
Even more so than the finals of the World Cup soccer.
Bigger than that, yep.
Wow.
That's because everyone's at the games.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Certain amount of truth to that.
Hey, this is totally off topic here, but Mayweather had his fight not too long ago.
Well, did you see how much he got booed when he was introduced?
God.
At Oracle Arena during the NBA Finals? My God.
Well, Vernon, he's not exactly the most warm and cuddly guy, is he?
No, he's not. But he opened up the wallet. He paid for a whole section.
Did he really?
Oracle.
Wow.
For him and his entourage.
Wow.
Well, with a $180 million payday for one fight, I think he can afford it.
Boy, Mayweather. Well, he's taking care of his beats, isn't he?
Have you ever sat down and talked with him?
I have once. It was years ago. Remember when Mayweather was here? This was the 1990s. He fought at Bill Graham Auditorium. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the only time. And he only had a couple of seconds with him, and it was just the basic canned answer to the fight-related questions. So you didn't really have a chance to really kind of get in depth to kind of find out what really makes it tick.
No.
But he was on the upswing.
You know what? Talk gambling and poker and cards to him.
And that's
his blackjack.
Yeah.
So he's got a fleet of brand new custom-made cards that he doesn't even drive.
And just sit in a warehouse.
In a garage.
Yeah. Got a big warehouse somewhere, probably.
Yeah.
He needs to pay somebody to just drive him around.
No, exactly. He has to pay out of a. I knew a guy who did that. I won't mention his name. Very wealthy guy, who was a part owner of the Giants, and he had an entire. It was like the size of a small arena full of vintage cars. There must have been 40, and he had a full-time mechanic that he had hired to take care of these things. And once in a while, he'd go in and drive one around.
Because if they don't get driven,
Well,
the seals get all weirded
He'd go in
out.
and drive one around. But I mean, that's a guy with too much money.
I'll tell you a quick story as we try to entertain the listening audience. The first time I was behind the wheel of a Jaguar was 1980 when Virginia made the Final Four in Philadelphia. It was my first year at Virginia, so we all went up there. We road tripped up there, but then as soon as Virginia got bounced by Indiana, a lot of people just sold their tickets and headed back, and I needed to get back to Charlottesville, Virginia. So there was some fat cat had the Jaguar, but he didn't feel like driving. So I drove him and his wife from Philadelphia back to Virginia.
How many miles is that?
At least a couple hundred, something like that.
Yeah, a good 4-hour drive.
Yeah. It was like I was an Uber driver before the Uber.
Yeah.
Those things are not something you can just jump into either and just think you can drive it that easily, because they are kind of temperamental cars. They're beautiful cars if you know how to drive them. Do you have any problems with it?
No, it was pretty smooth, Bruce.
Yeah.
But I some 18-year-old kid driving a Jaguar.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember in the 60s, those things used to break down all the time, but by 1980, they knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but back to Mayweather again. Where do you guys think he ranks as greatest fighter?
In the echelon of all time?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got love him or hate him, he's got to be right up there. Just on a matter of his record.
I mean, obviously you got Marciano.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if you guys agree. I still think even today, I think the marquee division is the heavyweight division.
Oh, no question.
I think that's it. I mean, unfortunately, there's just no huge stars anymore. But back in the '80s, with Tyson and Holyfield, everything on the heels of Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali after he retired, I think they really kind of carried it on. But and then you had Sugar Ray Leonard. Welterweight like that. They were kind of sexy. But I think the heavyweights are where it's at.
I'm sorry. I was just going to add one thing. I never saw Marciano fight. I watched Ali, Frazier, and all those guys. I don't know. I think good old Mike Tyson in his prime. I think he could beat them all.
I remember I went to the Tyson Spinks fight at Trump Plaza in New Jersey. Wow. I mean, just as soon as you I'm seated right here. What? It's over.
It's over.
I mean, it was like that.
I went to a fight like that at Madison Square Garden. Jerry Cooney knocked out Ken Norton Jr. in the first round, I think 40 seconds into the first round. He was literally out cold when he was hit with this punch, and you could see his eyes roll back in his head. It was scary. But you mentioned Mayweather. It's interesting that Mayweather, very successful, but you watch the way he fights. He's not a real daring, theatrical guy. He plays a very smart kind of a game where he waits for his opportunity.
Well,
So
he's smart.
Yeah.
He's well conditioned.
Yeah.
And if you want to go the distance, okay, he'll go the distance. He'll just keep just tagging you and racking up points.
Yep.
As long as he's got 1 point better than the other guy, he doesn't care.
Yes, that's why he doesn't get hurt too much, does he?
Right.
No.
Yeah, smart guy. Okay, hey guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. Again, the theme is Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Let's see. I got a couple of these guys these are easy questions for you guys. Who was the first Yankee to be named the All-Star Game's MVP? All right. The first 3 emails with the correct answer are going to win that free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com to answer this question. Who was the first Yankee to be named the All-Star Game's MVP? All right? Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101 with Edward Brown, Bruce McGowan, and our favorite Vern Glenn. Don't touch that down. We'll be right back.
Don't do it.
I was going to say Babe Ruth, but I know that the baseball All-Star Game didn't start until like 35 or 36.
33.
Yeah.
Was it 33? So maybe Joe DiMaggio, maybe Lou Gehrig. I don't know. What do you think, Vern?
What
Any
you guys
ideas? I'm
man,
thinking.
you would think, but there was something. Everybody was a star back then.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, you could just go through the years and just.
I'm going to guess one of the really older guys, but
Mickey Mantle?
Yeah, Mickey Mantle.
I mean, Jeter.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't pay that much attention to the All-Star Game. You watch it, but you really don't care about who wins, or unless somebody does something extraordinary. You just sort of it's more of an event than an actual actual.
It's just kind of fun to watch. Every player who comes up to bat is a good hitter.
There's just too many guys on the team now. They shouldn't have 30 guys, 32 or whatever it is. And every team should be represented, but they feel they have to be fair.
Anything specific going on at?
Vernon may want to talk a little bit more about the Warriors. I don't know. That's such a great run, Vernon, and both of us were lucky enough to cover a lot of that firsthand, and maybe you just have some parting thoughts since it's only a couple weeks
old. Well,
old.
I mean, 30 years of television, I never covered an NBA Finals before.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
You got to work in the market. A, got a team.
Yeah.
B, they got to be good.
Yeah.
C, they got to go the distance.
Okay. Let's get cover that. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question about Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Who was the first Yankee to be named the All-Star Game's MVP? Bruce, who do you think?
I'm going to guess, but I don't know if Vernon maybe has a better guess. I'm going to guess one of the old guys back in the day, DiMaggio, Gehrig, maybe even Mickey Mantle.
That's three guys.
Okay, one of those three.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Okay, I'll pick DiMaggio.
I'll go Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
No, but Derek Jeter.
You're kidding me. There had not been an MVP until the late 90s?
Yeah, the year 2000.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Think about it, all those great teams from the 1920s up until the turn of the century, and not one Yankee MVP.
For the All-Star Game.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
That's a stumper.
So off air, we were just starting to kind of toy with talking about the fact that the Warriors after 40 years finally win. And the thing is, Vern, you're from the San Francisco Bay Area, and now you finally get to cover a basketball team that actually did something.
Yeah, I was just thinking. The point is, first of all, there's only a few of these jobs in every market, and so if you're lucky enough to have one of these things, you got to have an NBA team that's in the market, and then they got to be good enough to make the playoffs, and then they got to be good enough to make it all the way. So, 30 years of television, never covered an NBA Finals until now.
Wow.
Amazing.
I just was thinking back, I'm showing my age, I've been in the business just a little longer, I'm only about 10 years older than Vern, but I covered the Warriors. I was only working part-time for a newspaper, but that was my first ever assignment, was covering that championship team, and I covered all their games, and so it felt like coming full circle. But you mentioned, being able to do this and to be able to witness this. I was telling Edward off here that I thought when I was going to a lot of the regular season games, I went to about 20 this year, Vernon, and I know you went to a lot of them too. When the Warriors were 21-2, and then when they won something like 23 in a row, I just thought to myself, you know something? Not only does this team have a good chance of making it to the conference finals, because I thought they had that much talent, they may go all the way. Didn't you feel the same way?
Kismet.
No, I didn't. I actually thought it was almost like a nightmare. I would dream that they would have this lofty record, make the playoffs, and then crap out in the first or second round.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I just didn't. I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Isn't that terrible?
Well, they didn't have any injury problems. That nobody got hurt. I mean, they did have a couple little dings there when Curry hit the floor, and once Klay Thompson got hit in the head, but they had time to heal up.
And I think the strength of this whole thing was their bench.
Yeah.
The bench was so strong.
No question.
When they decided to go small, which is now the trend now. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Copycat thing now. Everybody wants to play small.
Yeah.
It's like the big, the 5s and the 7-footers are like, I wouldn't say irrelevant, but it's not. They don't have the star appeal anymore.
Well, how do you combat? How do you
play great defense?
Yeah.
How do you combat speed?
Yeah. Who can score in transition?
Yeah. Somewhere Don Nelson, who's really started this whole trend with the Warriors back in the 80s, is sitting on a beach in Maui just smiling behind his Mai Tai and having a little chuckle. I know he is.
Yeah, but for as good as he feels, how do you think Mark Jackson?
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah. My God.
He was.
I made a joke the other day that Mark Jackson doing the NBA Finals. That's like having to fly your ex-fiance during her wedding and then filming her home for her whole honeymoon.
Yeah, and there's a good point to that. At the same time, I think Mark Jackson, the thing that struck me about him, he did make a few, kind of negative comments about the Warriors. Not too many, but generally speaking, I thought he was pretty magnanimous.
Yeah, he was. It's the same thing. He made a couple of comments where you go, ooh,
Yeah,
if he wasn't the coach last year.
I think he really joined it. One thing I think he appreciated was that Steve Kerr didn't go overboard with it, but Kerr mentioned from time to time, Mark Jackson set the table for me.
Yeah, he was smart. And he said just enough.
Yeah, just enough.
He didn't go on and on, but he said just enough to kind of make him feel relevant.
Well, he was relevant.
He was,
The one thing that I remember is Kerr made a move to go small, and Mark was like, "Well, I don't know about this move." And then as soon as he came out of it, the Warriors created like 3 turnovers. They had like a 10-2 run, got back in the game, and they ended up winning the game.
It's funny. As soon as Bogut comes out and Iguodala comes in, I had a big smile on my face. I just was so frustrated with Bogut. I really was.
Well, Edward, he can't move.
Yeah.
He cannot move.
And Butterfingers,
in an offense that's built to just be constant motion, move, ball screens, find the open guy.
Great defender. Great defender, great rim protector, as they call him, great shot blocker. But when it comes to offense, he's just more of a liability.
Right.
Yeah, and Andre Iguodala could do it on both ends of the floor.
Exactly.
That was such a great story to me. And what I loved is when the Warriors all got on the podium there and took their bows, and they had the whole team up there, and Joe Lacob, the owner, and Peter Guber, the co-owner, and the general manager. And there's Andre Iguodala front and center because he was MVP.
Yeah.
And his little son, a little 9-year-old or 8-year-old kid with a big smile on his face. It was just as sweet to me as when Steph Curry had his little 2-year-old Ashley up there on the podium.
Right.
On the Nationals, the Warriors win the NBA championship. It's kind of like the Giants winning the World Series. It's like people back east, they didn't know how to react, because I talked to people that didn't even know where Golden State was.
Well,
it's the main Golden State.
Where is that? And you don't know it's Oakland. Then you get a blank stare.
What's interesting about that? Franklin Muley, the former owner, years and years ago, had an idea because the Warriors couldn't find a suitable arena. They played a lot of their games in Oakland, but they were going to play games in San Diego and Sacramento and the San Francisco area, and we're going to be called Golden State. And then for some, that idea was abandoned, but for some reason they hung on to the name, and I thought it was a disrespect to Oakland, because I know the fans in Oakland have been so supportive. It's a Bay Area team, granted, but the hardcore fans, they call them the Oakland Warriors, the East Bay Warriors, the Bay Area Warriors.
It used to be the San Francisco Warriors.
Well, and it's fine. And they should have stayed in San Francisco, but they didn't build an arena. I don't know,
It was like the California Angels.
Yeah, or the California Golden Seals, back in the day. So, yeah. I don't know. Vernon, don't you think that's the great thing, though, about the Warriors is, again, people outside the area don't probably care about this, but here in our area, you're a 49er fan or you're a Raider fan. You're a Giants fan or you're an A's fan. But everybody loves the Warriors. They're the only Bay Area team.
Yeah, it's the only pro team.
Sharks.
It's not like New York where you got the Nets, you got the Knicks.
Yeah.
And then you got I feel like it's a once in a lifetime feel good story that just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah, I got to ask you about Steve Kerr. What do you think about him, and not just what he did, but the kind of person he is, how you interact with him, and what he does for you as a reporter in the media? Because I think he understands those of us who work in this profession, and really.
Well, I think he has a great advantage of he's very smart and he's very articulate, very engaging. If you go back to YouTube and watch his speech after he hit the game-winning shot in the 1997 NBA Finals for the Bulls, you can tell even then, hey, this guy's pretty glib. And so then he's a natural in front of the camera when he was doing those games. So he's kind of seen it from both ends. So he was able to orchestrate and just handle us beautifully.
Handle us so well.
You never saw him get upset.
No.
You never saw him go after anybody. He just kind of deflected everything and just kind of let everything shrug off his shoulders.
He's got a great demeanor.
And what's great about the whole Steve Kerr story is that the Warriors, after firing Mark Jackson, were really in between a rock and a hard place, and they lucked out because Kerr was in a hotel room, I believe, in Oklahoma City doing a game the next couple of days, and they frantically flew down there. They thought he was going to go to the Knicks, and the Knicks were all set to hire him, and lo and behold, Kerr looks at what the Warriors had to offer, looked at what the Knicks had to offer, and then realized his daughter's going to school there. What a great, talk about, just falling into a great situation.
And it didn't hurt at the time that his daughter was playing at Cal on a volleyball scholarship.
Not at all.
Wait, you know what? That's the best way to get a coach is find out where the kids are going.
Yeah, there you go.
But imagine, Vern, if he had to, and imagine that, Vern, if he had to go to New York and work for that idiot James Dolan. That granted, he would have been working with Phil Jackson. I don't know how Phil Jackson puts up with the owner, James Dolan. That guy is he's ruined the next franchise.
Well, they brought Isaiah Thomas back.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That went out.
Crazy. Okay, before we get to our commercial break, quick thing here. I know Bob Costas wants to shorten the season back to 154 games with more playoff games and wild card division. What do you think?
I don't know. What do you think, Vern? I like the idea, but Bob Costas is a baseball purist, and I know Major League Baseball is not going to change, but it's intriguing.
I think if you're in the sales department at the networks and are in control of the books, I think you say, hey, Bob, just carry the mic and just call the ball.
Well, I think it's a neat idea because,
Yeah.
what's the difference between 154 and 162? It used to be 154.
Well, and they give you an extra week to have more playoff games, and the dang thing wouldn't be going until November.
Yeah,
But,
just the idea of
yeah.
more playoff, because that's when things get really exciting.
Yeah.
Even when the games aren't exciting, they're exciting.
Yeah.
Because of that.
But it's not going to happen.
You don't think
It's
so?
a moot point, don't you think, Vern?
No, second half.
No.
Why?
That's just, as long as there's money to be made and greed, for the lack of a better word, Gordon Gekko, is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll never change.
Well, but they'll still get the same amount of games and just have more playoff games.
Yeah.
Well, not quite because not everybody's in the playoffs, but it's close enough. Close enough for government work, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our second commercial break. Trivia question. Again, the theme is the Major League All-Star Game. Which franchise was the first to have 5 MVP All-Star Game award winners?
Wow.
Which franchise? Now, you can probably guess it wasn't the Yankees because of the last question.
Yeah.
Okay, the first 3 emails with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. Which franchise was the first to have 5 MVP All-Star Game award winners? All right? Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101 with our favorite co-host, Bruce McGowan, and our favorite previous co-host and awesome guest, Vern Glenn.
I let you say that to all the callers.
I do. No, I don't. And I'm Edward Brown. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We will be right back.
Edward's like the guy who says to the girl, there's nobody else I want to go out with.
Yeah.
Then she finds out that he said the same thing last week.
That's not true, Vern. You're my favorite.
So Dean Gordon just hit a 3-run homer. I've seen that on my MLB off the Giants. Who's pitching tonight for the Giants? It's not Kane, is it?
It's Vogelsong.
Oh boy, 3-1 Marlins in the second inning. That's a bummer. Vogelsong is kind of funny because sometimes he looks so good, but boy, it's I'm gonna give him credit. He's heck of a career.
Well, he's a grinder.
Yeah, he is. They're lucky. The sad thing about the Giants, I just don't think it's. They're only half a game out of first place. How can you not say it's not going to be their year again? But it just doesn't feel right.
Too early to tell, man.
Yeah,
You feel better.
Oh yeah, I do. Marty Lurie always teases me about that. He goes, it's a long season. All the chapters haven't been written, Bruce. Come on.
Who says that?
Marty Lurie.
Oh.
You know Marty.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn yet again.
Here.
Okay, the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question about the Major League All-Star Game. Which franchise was the first to have 5 MVP All-Star Game award winners? Which franchise?
I'm going to whiff on that one and turn it over to Vern. I can't. I don't have a clue.
I'm going to go. I'll go Dodgers.
Nope.
Cardinals?
Nope, the Reds.
Reds.
Yeah, Tony Perez, Joe Morgan, George Foster, Ken Griffey Sr., and Davey Concepcion.
Wow, all the great players from that 70s team, the Big Red Machine.
That's right. If you look at all of them, yeah.
My first World Series was the Reds A's 1990.
Oh, remember that one well.
Yeah.
Please.
God, the A's were favorites and they got swept. And Chris Sabo, he had an amazing series. I think he might have been MVP. If he was, it might have been Jose Rijo, the former A. Yeah. That was awful. The second game was the critical one. They had a lead and they let it get away.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Billy Hatcher had 12 hits in a row in that series, set a record.
Well, I remember, you had the 88 World Series, right? Which was frustrating.
Dodgers
it was great if you're Dodgers, especially for a game one. And then, they sweep the Giants in '89, and then 1990, you're thinking, I mean, they might just sweep the Reds. The Reds had a good team, but when it's one of those any series, anybody can win.
Vernon, don't you think the Reds were kind of not only underestimated but really underrated? They had a great team in 1990.
Well, don't forget they had Mark Schott.
But I mean, the A's were just overwhelmingly powerful, especially coming off '89. Well, in fact, we used to cut highlights whenever Eckersley came in the game.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's the highlights.
Oh, he'd throw 9 pitches and be out of there in 2 minutes. I mean, that's why it's interesting now they call a home run a walk-off piece, but Dennis Eckersley coined that phrase to term whenever you'd lose a game, the pitcher would walk off the mound. It's not something you want to remember.
Yeah, he's the first.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was.
True.
Yeah. Walk-off piece. It was whenever a pitcher, a relief pitcher, or a starter gave up the winning run on the road to the home team, and you had to walk off the field. That's a walk-off piece. That's not something you want to remember. But they've coined it into this thing. Oh, a walk-off. They won the game in the last at bat. Well,
Oh, wow.
somebody misused that term somewhere.
So, Vern, you're quite the guy with the crystal ball. Who's going to win the World Series?
Falling into the trap. It's not even July yet.
Yeah.
I know, but you can predict. You're pretty good about predicting.
If you had to pick a team right now, Vernon, who would you pick to be in the World Series, say from the National League? To start with.
Probably St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
How about the American League? That's kind of a tougher chore between.
Just more really good teams.
Yeah.
You go Royals. You can go.
Maybe even Houston.
Yeah, you could. That's a team that's not backing out from anybody.
No. Oh, they were supposed to be good, but they weren't supposed to be this good.
Well, the only thing we know is the
They're
Giants.
supposed to be this good next year.
Yeah, next year or the year after.
Well, the only thing we know is the Giants can't win it because it's an odd year.
Yeah.
They're only allowed to win in even years.
And we're spoiled out
So
here.
they're trying to buck that trend.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. Because what do they say?
Like this inside the park 3-run homer.
Yeah.
What do they say? It can't be a dynasty unless you win in a row.
Certain number one. I got to ask Vernon about the A's, though. We don't, nationally, they are just practically.
I was just out there yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they're practically invisible nationally, and they're having a bad year this year. But it's remarkable what they've been able to do with a limited budget. And tell us a little bit. The national listeners may not know about Billy Beane so much. They've heard his name, the general manager and part owner. But he does some amazing things. Even with all the moves he made this offseason, he's brought in some pretty good players.
Yeah, he does. And now the question is, how much longer does he hold on to Cashmere before he deals in? You know a fire sale is coming.
Oh yeah.
He's going to unload and reload somehow, especially if it continues like this.
But he always
I was
brings in.
yesterday to talk to the vote. He's got all these numbers, RBI wise, and he still trails by 6 million votes at his position. Salvi Perez.
Wow.
Great catcher in his own right, but I was asking him about that. I would say he was overjoyed to talk about it. He didn't talk about it.
Well, the thing about the A's is, they keep bringing in these young pitchers. Jesse Hahn, Kyle Graveman, the other guy I'm thinking of, Jesse Chavez. They're not household names, these kids. And then Sonny Gray, that guy is a great young pitcher. He may be one of the best pitchers in baseball right now.
He was a scratch for today.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay, all
I
right.
don't know why, but
And they're playing as we speak, they're playing the Rockies.
Reported on the 6 o'clock news.
The other thing about the All-Star game, though, isn't this back to the fans voting for it?
It is.
So, it's the ballot stuffing and all that kind of crap.
Well, Kansas City, from what I understand, is really stuffing the ballots, huh?
Well, they had 8, then they got down to 5.
Okay. I mean, I remember years and years ago, back in the early 60s, I think it was, or late 50s, the Cincinnati Reds fans stuffed the ballots. They had 8 starters, so they had to change things for a bit. But I'm wondering if it's such a good idea. What do you think of the fans having the vote in the All-Star game?
It's a fans game, so you got to give them that.
Yeah.
But I think we have to give the players and the managers a little bit more, at least veto power.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, come on, you can't be voting in people that are either on the DL or they there's been some ridiculous voting in the past. By the way, my producer Kevin Kennedy has told me that Sonny Gray is sick.
Oh.
And that is why he was scratched today.
Sonny Gray is not a big guy. He's 5'10", about 180. He's built kind of like Tim Hudson, maybe an upgraded version of Tim Hudson. But you watch him on the mound, he is I mean, that guy has got some great stuff, great makeup, and again, you wonder how long are the A's going to hang on to this guy? I guess until he becomes a free agent in 3 years, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll deal him while he still has value.
Yeah.
Speaking of value, Buster Posey just went yard.
Oh, that's
There you
nice
go.
to hear.
Job in the third. It's 3-2.
There you go. Hey, when are they going to bring back Cespedes? I was depressed when they traded him. I don't know why. Billy Beane, I know he's a brilliant guy, but I was thinking, what are you doing? Cespedes. I mean,
well, they were in first place, and that was kind of the catalyst. I think, Vern, I know we simplify things in sports as we do with everything in the real world, but Vern, didn't you think that last year that really was the turning point for the A's because they kind of went south after that?
Well, I guess outside looking in, it certainly looked that way. I mean, he protected a lot of people in the lineup, and he was a threat every time he had a bat in his hands. But if you follow Billy Beane, boy, as soon as he dealt him, he really hasn't been a factor since. Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing that throw that he made last year.
He punched out a couple of guys.
Yeah, no, but I mean there was one specific one where he bobbled it in left field for one
I remember.
I mean that throw, it was so amazing that they did like a 20 or 30 minute sports piece just on that throw.
Well, that was a big old heap and helping big old big old can of man strength right there.
It's funny because I think about all the best throws I've ever seen, like from Clemente and Bo Jackson and all that. But I gotta think that one.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw it 350 feet or
something
something
on the fly. The only guy I can think of that really kind of equals Cespedes might be this kid in L.A., Yasiel Puig. I mean, he's got an arm, but there's something wrong with that kid. What's going on with that guy anyway, Vernon? Because I know the story of him, how he got out of Cuba. We talked about this before, but it's an amazing story. But he just seems to be off in his own little world, and I'm wondering, what's going to happen with his career because he seems to not get along sometimes with people.
Well, he needs to align himself around with people that he should respect and know the game and tell him what to do.
Yeah.
He's young. He was a superstar overnight, and sometimes when it happens, and you
start
go
to
through the
believe it.
velvet ropes, and they go right on through Yasiel. You just start thinking that you're better than you really are.
Yeah.
And we all make mistakes. We're human. And it's just that when he makes mistakes, it's on a baseball field surrounded by a bunch of people, and when that happens, it gets magnified.
Good point.
Yeah, especially with a game like baseball, where if you do poorly 7 out of 10 times, you still make the Hall of Fame.
Here's one. I wouldn't call it a gaffe. But last night, I'm doing the highlights, and I do a home run call in Mandarin on a Billy Butler big fly. And
you yourself are doing this?
Yeah. I was doing the A's highlights, and I did Billy Butler's call, and just to be different, I voiced it over in Mandarin, which I thought was funny, unique.
Yeah.
Not everybody does something like that. So I did it, and everybody thought it was funny. But I got one email from a guy that thought that I was poking fun at the Asian community.
Oh.
And so I had to write him a nice note, just saying, hey, that wasn't my intention. Because I've done home runs in German and I've done them in French.
Wait a second. Now, how do you do that, Vern?
Yeah,
I was going to say, how do you do that? I mean, you learn the words, but you don't speak those languages fluently. So how do you?
I have this English to Mandarin or English to German translator thing. You just type in what you want to say.
Interesting.
It tells you what it is, and then you can kind of play it and hear it. And I just type it out of my script phonetically.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe just
fascinating.
figure out the app so that all you have to do is just speak into the mic and translate it
Yep.
automatically.
That's very creative. I remember John Miller used to do Vince Scully in Japanese.
That's right.
Did you ever hear him do that? That was pretty funny.
I've heard him do the Spanish.
Yeah, he's done it in Spanish, but he did it in Japanese, which was really funny. That's amazing. Well, that's the thing. Vernon's on television locally here in the Bay Area, and Vernon, you have to do more than just give scores and show highlights and maybe get the obligatory feature interview.
Yeah, you can't get up there and just so 3-2, 5-4.
No.
You sound like everybody else. And so you try to be distinctive and entertaining, yet give out the information. And we live in a fishbowl here. I mean, I'm in a studio with maybe 4 people. I mean, that's all I can see, and a monitor. So I don't know who's watching or whatever, but I do know that 75% of the audience are non-traditional sports fans.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 25, they'll watch you no matter what. So if you can pull in any of the other 75%, then you've really done something. That's what I try to do when I want to get on there and just try to entertain for them.
Yeah, for earlier in the show, you mentioned about because of the costs that the studio's not flying you all around, and you just get somebody with a CBS flag, and then that person reports in that city. I'm not sure, how does that work? I mean, are you that person maybe with for someone, let's say Jacksonville, Florida station that needs coverage on the Warriors and for the finals?
Well, if we don't travel, and let's just say let's just say the 49ers are playing a big game in Green Bay,
okay.
and so we don't have that game. But the 49ers are a team you have to cover. So on that Sunday when we do our half-hour show, we find a guy that works for a CBS affiliate in the Green Bay market that they're covering the Packers.
Yeah, I understand that, but are you ever the guy that gets the covered? Do they ever pick you, like from another CBS
From another market?
Yeah, from another market.
Only at the beginning of the year when everybody does the little season preview shows. Will I been asked to kind of report on the AFC West from, say, like the Raiders standpoint, or the NFC West from the Niners standpoint.
Okay.
But I've never been here working a Raider game, which is what we have on CBS here in this market, and have someone in, say, like Denver or somebody else in the AFC West have me report for them from their team. Usually they really will travel.
Got it.
Baseball, not so much.
Okay, hey, Vern Glenn from CBS affiliate in San Francisco. Thanks for joining us once again.
My pleasure. And as I always used to say when I was in studio, good night, America.
Good night, America. All right, thanks.
All right, Vernon. Good seeing you, man. Or good hearing from you.
All right, here's
Vernon is one of the all-time good guys.
Yeah, here's our final commercial break trivia question. Who was selected the All-Star Game a record 14 times as a pitcher?
Whoa.
All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll have some closing comments.
Nolan Ryan? I'm going to say Nolan Ryan. It's got to be somebody who pitched for 20 years. That wasn't Sandy Koufax. He didn't pitch long enough. Roger Clemens?
I'm not going to say
Nolan Ryan or Roger Clemens? One of those two. Got to be. 14 times. I'll say Roger Clemens.
You'll say Roger Clemens.
Yeah, I'll go Roger Clemens. Probably not Roger Clemens,
That was good for.
yeah, that's terrific. Good stuff.
Well done.
He's such a good guy. I'm glad he's doing okay.
Yeah, me too.
Buster Posey, solo homer. What's your score? So, Brock Girls, 2 homers.
All right. And away we go, finishing things up.
Okay, sounds good.
Good. This wasn't too painful.
Not at all. This is fun. Always fun.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. We had to say goodbye to Vern. Always a pleasure to have him on.
Good man.
All right, the third and final trivia question on Major League All-Star Game. Who was selected the All-Star Game a record 14 times as a pitcher?
First I thought Nolan Ryan because he pitched for so many years, and then I thought Roger Clemens. Got to be one of those guys. I'll go with Ryan.
No, this is somebody who actually pitched in the late 50s.
In the late 50s?
And early 60s.
Wow. Wow. Hall of Famer, obviously.
Warren Spahn.
Warren Spahn. He pitched till he was 40. The interesting story about Warren Spahn, he pitched till he was 43, I believe. And one of the last big games he pitched, he and Juan Marichal dueled for 16 scoreless innings at Candlestick Park. This is 1963. And Willie Mays ended up hitting the game-winning homer off of him. And there were 8 Hall of Famers in that game. Hank Aaron, Warren Spahn, and Eddie Matthews from the Braves. Orlando Cepeda, Willie McCovey, Willie Mays, Juan Marichal, and I believe, I don't know if Gaylord Perry was on the team, but I don't think he wasn't in the game. So, yeah, there were eight of them in the two dugouts. How about that?
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, and there were only 9,500 people in the stands, and I talked to some people who covered it. And by the 16th inning, it was a cold night, middle of the summer, when temperatures probably in the 50s and wind probably blowing about 30 miles an hour. That probably
Pretty amazing he hit a home run.
Well, that's probably the reason it was scoreless, one of the reasons. But there were only about 3,000 fans at the end of that game. Willie Mays said it was one of the greatest games he'd ever played in. Juan Marichal said it was the highlight of his career.
That's
So, you know,
great.
yeah.
That's pure baseball.
That
for
is
you, and
pure
that's what-
baseball.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. A lot of people gripped a knife and fork. Oh, I'm sorry. If a lot of people gripped a knife and fork the way they do a golf club, they'd starve to death.
No, gee,
That's
that's
what Sam
true.
Snead said that.
That's true.
And Ty Cobb said, every great batter works on the theory that the pitcher is more afraid of him than he is of the pitcher. Great Ty Cobb.
That's Ty Cobb in a nutshell.
It is.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. Well, we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
Good stuff.
All right. Okay. So
Great
do we
talk, too.